Hey guys, welcome back to the workshop. We've got Big Hand Dave here, who is a certified cutter for blade sports, and he's going to be talking today a little bit more about how to sharpen his knives. If you're not familiar with blade sports, check out a couple of our other videos, but Dave's going to go into the details as to how to get these blades as sharp as they are, because he's asking a lot of these knives when it comes to either cutting 2x4s or slicing a straw. Dave, let's start with how you keep these knives from going dull. What do you do there?
That's the challenge. You keep these knives from going dull. The blade steel has a lot to do with this.
Okay.
Very, the 4V. But I strop. If they get really, really dull or I have wrinkle or something, then I may go back to a fine grit, and actually I did on the work sharp, go to a fine green, red rouge, and then I actually strop with CBN 4 micron.
Okay.
Which is cubic boron nitride. You put it on a strop, a couple of drops, and rub it in, and it cuts really fast. Most of the time, all I have to do is strop.
It's all it needs.
That's all it needs.
It's pretty rare that you'll roll an edge or something like that. That you actually have to take some material.
Yes.
But for the most part, you're just stropping.
For the most part, all I'm doing is stropping. For the first year I had these knives, all I did was strop. Wow. That's it. Just strop. Now, I take my time stropping. I'll stop in between and check the edge. And, I may strop for 30 minutes or so.
Okay.
But I really take my time and, make sure that edge it's sharp, that it cuts paper, and, it's ready to go.
Yeah, if you'd be willing, love to see your stropping technique on one of these knives.
With these knives, basically, I've got a check or a test that I do. I'll take some newspaper and I'll just kind of tear up little pieces. And, my wife loves this stuff. It gets all in the house, and your wives will absolutely love you for it. No, I'm kidding. Make sure you get all your paper up. It can cause some fun times.
Little mess there, huh?
It can cause a little mess, and you see a lot of people cutting through paper and cutting really fast through paper.
Guilty.
Yeah. What I want to know is I want to hear how that paper sounds. And you may not be able to hear it real good, but I want to hear how that paper sounds when I'm tearing it.
Sure.
Okay? And I want to hear kind of the tone of how it sounds when I'm tearing it, hear that tone. And then I want to hear the tone of how it sounds when I'm cutting it. Now, you said we just got through cutting with these and I hadn't sharpened them. So you just realize when I cut here, it just pulled through. And I want to cut really slow. So cut really slow and pay attention. And there was one pull through spot right there at the end where it just kind of pulled a little bit. I mean, not much. Right. Still a very sharp knife. It was still shaved, but it kind of pulled. So when you're doing, or when I'm doing my paper, I'll actually pull just very slow.
You're almost listening for the tone there, huh?
Yeah, just listening for that tone and just hearing the difference between that tone
and tearing.
Gotcha. So there's a noticeable difference.
And when you hit those spots, that tells you got work to do.
That tells you got work to do there. And my work was about right in here. So I just take and strop backwards.
Looks like you're maintaining about a 15 or a 20 there?
About a 15-degree edge. Okay. Just kind of, feel it. If I was, real worried about the edge, or if I wouldn't, and I'll test it and make sure I'm hitting it so I know that I'm hitting it. But if I was real worried, I could, put a marker on it or something.
Do the Sharpie trick on there.
Yes. But, so right there, feel it? You see where it kind of tore?
Okay, yep.
Right there. So that was right there. So there's a little bit of sharpening. Now we just strop this and should be able, let me get up here really quick. Right through. And that's all it
Heard it on
took.
that one, yeah.
Yeah. So it didn't pull. It went right through. The tone didn't change when I was going through slow. And all I did was strop it with cubic boron nitride.
Yeah.
The
And
CBN.
it's just a couple drops. Lasts on that for a while.
Takes about 3 to 4 drops on one this size. I usually will put on some type of glove and I'll just spread it. I'll spread it across this whole thing.
Okay.
Then I'll set it over to the side for about 10 minutes and let it dry. Then I'll strop with it.
Nice.
It's an emulsion, oil, water emulsion with this CBN in it, with these little microparticles of CBN, cubic boron nitride in it. And like I say, I sharpen with 4 micron, which the Red Rouge is 5 micron, I
I
think.
believe so.
So it's just one step finer than that. And I'll sharpen with this 4 micron, and it lasts forever. So I've probably had this on there for a couple of months. It'll be a while before I put any new on it.
Nice.
So it lasts a long, and I've sharpened a lot of knives.
Yeah.
That
was the next thing I was going to ask. So outside of competition knives, when it comes to sharpening, what's your usual approach? I mean, you said you've learned a lot of different ways. What's when it comes to actually needing to sharpen a knife, how do you usually go at it?
I actually sharpen a lot. Like everyday carry, I sharpen with the work sharp, with the blade grinder attachment.
Really?
I've talked to some guys in the knife field that make knives. The portability is a huge plus.
Sure.
I throw it in a tool bag and I can take it to my sisters. And if you're a knife guy and you go to a family reunion or to Thanksgiving and they're going to be like, hey, my knives are dull. Do you mind sharpening them? I mean, who hasn't experienced that?
Yep.
So, you're usually there with a whetstone and you're there for a long time. And, I found with the work sharp that I can be there and I can take, 10 knives and lay them out and I can just do them all through one belt, go to the next belt,
Work your way down.
Work my way down. I can start at 120, I'll get chips out and I work my way down. When I get through, I've got every knife I was going to sharpen in a matter of, 20, 30 minutes, where it would take all day. But now I really do, especially for my competition and for my everyday carry knives, I still like that feel of the stropping at the end.
Yeah.
After, I go through the green rouge, the red rouge on the cloth, I still like that feel.
So you'll do the belts and then you'll switch over and strop.
I'll switch over and strop. And the one thing that this helps me do is it helps me feel, because this leather, if you've got any imperfections, when you pull it across, it'll grab.
It'll catch.
It'll catch. And you can tell. And you can do that with the paper too. And you'll be surprised when you're pulling through and there's just one spot that it just kind of pulls through. I mean, just a little spot. It just kind of pulls through and it's not cutting.
Yeah.
But it'll just pull through and then start cutting again. And you notice where that spot is and strop it a little bit, or, take it back, start with, take it right before you go to the cloth belts, that with the X4 belt.
Yep.
Take it to it. And, then go back through your cloth belts again. And it really can up your sharpening game, just testing, that edge real slow with the paper. One thing that I do, and I know some people see me do this and they're kind of like, what's going on? When I'm sharpening, I'll take my knife and I'll have some good light overhead.
Coming down
straight over. And you can see that wire edge. And I'll take that knife and I'll kind of twist it back and forth till I see that wire edge and I see that edge. Or you can get into just straight on and you can twist that knife and you can see if there's like a flat spot.
It kind of looks like a almost light reflecting back at you, right?
Yeah, it reflects
so if you're
that light
looking
back.
down on it, you'll see that little bright spot almost on the blade.
And that tells you where you need to work.
Yep.
And what you need to do. A lot of people ask me to sharpen their knives.
Sounds like it.
So,
Imagine, I'm ready.
The work sharp is just, it's convenient and it's quick, it's simple. The angle set, I love the convex part of it. It's just, it fits.
Yeah.
With the way I sharpen, I like it.
It's what works for you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Dave, thanks so much. I cannot thank you enough for flying. Dave came all the way out from Alabama to Oregon to show us this stuff. Can't thank you enough for making the trip. What a blast we had learning how to do these cuts. I hope you guys enjoyed the content and learning from Dave himself on how to sharpen, about the blade steel, just all the knowledge you could ask for. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more stuff next week.